Weapons. In a world of boring guns and knives, nothing's more satisfying than seeing a weapon get a little weird. When it's time for the action, heroes and villains need to trust that the cards, umbrellas, or fanny pack can get the job done. So in this video, let's learn a little more about these weapons, how they were shot, and maybe end up with a better understanding of why they're so freaking cool. So drop that stone, swish and flick, and let's get into the wonderfully wacky world of weird weapons. Wayman Wang is taken over by his alternate self, and when a group of security guards show up, he accesses abilities from a parallel universe, busting out the strangest weapon ever put on film. This now iconic action sequence was brought to you by the Daniels, the creative duo who came up doing cereal commercials and music videos, and as you can see, everything they touch turns into absolute gold. So when it came time to make a fanny pack look brutal, you know they were up to the task. So to do this, they referenced some old-ass kung fu movies and learned that the only way to craft the perfect fight was to let it breathe a little and not cut 50 million times like all modern movies. What the hell is happening here, Liam? It helped too that the guards were already stuntmen and stuntwomen, used to getting knocked around. But don't worry, they were still safe about it. Pair that with the triumphant return of Ke Huy Quan, who did almost all his own stunts. Ah, who's that guy? I love this shot, by the way. POV, you're a fanny pack, Lel? Reminds me of that one Mjolnir shot in Ragnarok. So in a movie where any object can instantly turn into a weapon, Wayman Wang's fanny pack, packed a punch. After an enormous ship settles over South Africa, humans stumble upon an entire race of aliens. But more importantly, a massive cache of their high-tech weapons. Unfortunately for humans, they were genetically locked. But when an office worker named Wickus accidentally sprays himself with a black goo, he mutates into one of them, making him the first person ever that can access their alien weaponry. The variety of guns on display in this movie was jaw-dropping. The shockwave blaster that, even though it's the least lethal, could still send dudes flying into a coma. Oh, I love that crackling, sizzling sound effect. You had the flamethrower that spit out fire so green you could diagonally, and the fully automatic assault rifle. After nailing down the concepts, the visual effects team built the alien from the ground up and stuck the CG gun right into his CG hands. But the one weapon that's burned into my memory is the deadly arc generator. Obviously, I can't show you the shots, but you can use your imagination. Later, when Wickus gains control of the exosuit, we see a few more examples of alien technology. No matter how many times I revisit this movie, I'm always blown away by the world building. But more than that, the weapon design is what keeps me coming back. It's too bad we never got a sequel. I wanted to see more pig cannons. Now let's check in with Gambit. And while he couldn't exactly give a TED talk, when he catches Wolverine with his Jim Beam, available now in stores everywhere, we see him for the first time show off his signature move. It's hard now to imagine anyone else besides Channing Tatum in the role, but people forget, we did see Taylor Kitsch's take on it back in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was pretty dope too. And in order to help Deadpool and Wolverine get back home, the gang pulls up to Cassandra's compound with a score to settle.
Do you know how long he been waiting for this? Woo, he about to make a name for himself, yeah.
We finally get to see him unleash the full fury of his deadly deck. In all the chaos, artists went in and extended the background, added more characters, and fine-tuned all the smoke, sparks, bullet trails, and of course, his trusty staff. In a movie with a ton of challenging and imaginative visual effects. Oh, what the hell, oh my god. His cards weren't the hardest thing to do, but damn did they leave an impression. Now let's zoom in to Men in Black, a secret government agency regulating the activities of extraterrestrials roaming the Earth, sharing technology with some while fending off the evil from others, all the while coexisting with humans without them having any idea. It really cracked open an entire universe of possibilities. People might remember MIB for the weird aliens, but the weird guns, that's what really sold the world.
Series 4 deatomizer.
That's what I'm talking about.
Noisy cricket.
I feel like I'm gonna break this damn thing.
Sure, the Men in Black have access to unlimited technology and a universe worth of guns, gadgets, and gizmos, but the noisy cricket stands apart. It's not about how big your gun is, but how you use it. Am I right, fellas? And even though it looks like it fell right out of a cereal box, it was pretty hardcore. The gun serves as a reminder of a constant theme throughout the movie, that things aren't always what they seem, and we all love to see the power of this puny but potent piece of weaponry. And in MIB 2, when the tables are turned and Jay has to train a neuralized K, he finally gets a little payback.
Your favorite weapon?
Bat?
Yep.
Now let's get into Suicide Squad and talk about the Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man? What about Bloodsport? His guns were way cooler than Polka Dots. Yes, indeed they were. And to be fair, here's his nano gun. Oh! But instead, we're introduced to Abner Krill, played by professional weirdo David Dasmalchian. Hey, I'm not saying that. James Gunn is saying that.
Because he is a haunted guy. And he's scary.
When he was a kid, his mom purposely infected him with an interdimensional virus, leaving him with multicolored polka dots that might consume his entire body. Luckily, he comes up with another way to get them out. On set, the actor twisted his gauntlets and mimed out the action of sending hundreds of them flying towards his enemies. The homemade apparatus was simple enough.
In the gauntlets, it has a lever, almost like a Venetian blind. He can do it himself, so the lever's open.
And when activated at the right moment, we saw the damage they could unleash. And in the climactic end battle, he uses them one last time. You did good, Polka Dot Man. And maybe now you'll find peace from all your mommy issues. Man, that was disturbing. Now let's travel to 2054, to a world where crime is a thing of the past. With the help of 3 psychics called precogs and holograms that find the perpetrators. You guys done, or? The police force is able to apprehend killers before they strike, and in order to bring them in, they rely on a non-lethal weapon known as the Six Stick. Even though this moment was quick, it was pretty memorable as far as weapons go. It's simple, yet effective. Elegant, yet debilitating.
Which is just like a simple baton, but instead of hitting somebody over the head with it, you just have to touch them anywhere in their body, and they vomit.
And it might have inspired this scene in Kick-Ass 2. There's had an extra function though, which I won't elaborate on, but the Six Stick wasn't the only weapon in this universe. There was also the Sonic Gun. That sound design is so good. And much like the Shockwave Blaster in District 9, its sole purpose was to temporarily disable enemies, blowing them back and knocking them totally unconscious. We've seen futuristic weapons in movies before, but the combination of these sleek and shiny ones, the fact that they were non-lethal, the sounds they made when they charge up, make them stand apart in the world of sci-fi movies. And now it's time to go under the sea to the lost kingdom of Atlantis and meet its high-tech soldiers who carry all manner of aquatic weaponry. And while they did have things like electrical water blades, sonic hand cannons, sick, the most memorable one was the Hydropulse Rifle.
These guns, through some process of fusion, take water and turn it into this source of tremendous energy.
It's a very powerful super soaker.
Going off concept art, they were designed to look like whales, blending ancient Atlantean aesthetics with futuristic functionality. By the end, these Hydropulse rifles had to hold up in close-range combat. Yeah, they're getting their asses kicked. but the guns look cool. Mixed with particle effects, they showed off a technology the world had never seen before. These cutting-edge weapons, combining sleek design with a bioluminescent glow, proved that Atlanteans don't just rule the ocean, they've weaponized it, turning water itself into the source of all their power. Ah, the lightsaber. The one weapon in all of cinematic history that everyone wanted to have. And from the very first time it was ignited on screen, no one could ever imagine it would become what it is today. A beacon of hope that you too can own for the low price of $219. Damn, Disney! How'd you take me out to dinner first before you me? So how did they bring the lightsaber to life on the big screen? Starting from storyboards that mapped out the action, they designed unique hilts and stuck on long rods when it came time to film. But how'd they get that glowy effect?
We painted it with blue projection material. You got a light on it, it glows.
But it wouldn't always work, so they decided to rotoscope the colorful blades over the sticks. A time-consuming process where artists had to draw over every single frame. But making them glow wasn't enough. Without that iconic humming sound, it was kind of, lame. So it was up to legendary sound designer Ben Burt to work his magic.
In the booth where we projected films, those projectors made a hum that I thought was musical in a way. Now, normally a sound person doesn't want buzz or hum. In this case, the buzz and the hum were the answer.
And with each new Star Wars movie, lightsaber duels became faster, more visceral. And they finally lit up their surroundings. Now you could feel these sabers of light existing in the same world as the actors, and they felt more real than ever. And since Disney couldn't stop milking it, we got more lightsaber fights than we knew what to do with. Alright, lightsaber fights in Acolyte were pretty dope. Now, what could be weirder than wizards and witches? And where would they be without those wacky wands? On the outside, they might just look like sticks you found on the ground. But when used as a weapon, it can be chilling to behold. Now, every wand is one of a kind, but for the movies, they made thousands, each with painstaking detail until they ended up in the hands of the actors. But that didn't stop Daniel Radcliffe from breaking a few.
80? 80 is 80. I thought you said 8.
And throughout the movies, we saw them being used in all sorts of ways. From the mundane, to the fantastical, from the playfully dangerous, to the seriously dangerous. Yeah, that's totally Snape right there. And how each spell was filmed was wildly different. From Lumos Maxima requiring a lightbox, to Expecto Patronum needing CG animals. But for wizard duels, they needed way more than that. Wind machines, break-apart environments, and tons of added effects. The sheer amount of visual effects they needed to make every spell feel unique, grounded, and powerful was awe-inspiring. And paired with the right music and sound effects, these sticks blew us away. Now let's jump to the 23rd century, to cult classic, The Fifth Element, where we behold the glory of the ZF-1.
Slide. Handles adjustable for easy carrying. Good for riders and lefties. Strikes down on the four parts, undetectable by X-ray. Ideal for quick, discreet interventions.
No other gun has ever been this versatile. There's the replay button.
One shot. Replay sends every following shot to the same location.
Rocket launcher. Arrow launcher. With poisonous tips, of course. Net launcher. Ice cube system. And last but not least, the flamethrower.
My favorite.
For every different setting the gun had, they used separate mechanisms to achieve the look. You'd never know since it was all off camera. To see all this firepower in the ZF-1, all this variety of destruction, packed into such a portable form factor, was absolutely revolutionary.
Because you can't do that, or the army will buy it today. we're gonna sell a lot of these guns if they really worked.
And of course, the icing on the cake was this little red button on the side that had an explosive impact. In a world with shape-shifting aliens, blue opera singers, and massive spaceships, they managed to create one of the most memorable weapons of all time. Manners maketh man. That's what Harry Hart tells a group of thugs right before locking the doors and smashing their heads in. Right away, it's interesting to see how this actor fell on set, all wobbly and versus how it ended up in the movie, stiff and rigid after being swapped with a stuntman. And how did Harry do this? Out of all the weapons and gadgets available to the Kingsman, shotgun pistols, knife shoes, poisonous pens, and electrical rings, nothing's more deadly and stylish than a simple umbrella. When the action starts, we get to see him in all his badass glory. Starting from stunt viz that worked out each beat of the fight, they knew exactly what they needed to do before the real shooting began. And since they already worked out all the camera angles beforehand, it became way easier on set to create the same moments. I'll let you in on a little secret though. This wide shot, they actually added this one later with a stuntman, so you can totally see the face replacement going on. But don't mind that. After making a few copies and outfitting them with a small trigger, it was time for the weapon's finishing moves. A look behind the scenes shows that Harry's umbrella was incomplete while filming in order to see through it, with the transparent material and HUD added in later. And as for this flipping guy,
he's not on a wire, the stuntman. He's actually doing a somersault in the air, but his leg is being pushed by a guy in a green suit.
After learning all of this, it's no wonder how they transformed this bland umbrella into the ultimate weapon. Now let's talk about the weirdest wearable, the awe-inspiring, population-reducing, most sought-after item in the entire MCU, the Infinity Gauntlet. Who else thought he did this for real the first time watching? The thing was massive in real life, and by creating an actual version of it, Josh Brolin had that weight when performing his scenes. But since the entire character was CG anyway, sometimes a padded glove was enough. With the Infinity Gauntlet on his hand, Thanos was free to do anything he could imagine, like burn some heads, stop some knives, travel across the galaxy, turn blasters into bubbles, and create an entire false reality. But all that was child's play when compared to what he did on Titan. Boy, that one was kinda goofy looking. With the moves rehearsed, going off previs was the perfect way to craft all his unique attacks coming from the gauntlet. And the Avengers truly didn't stand a chance. Oh shit! Punched him into a cartoon character. To realize how this one weapon tied together two of the biggest comic book movies ever, how it supported the story of hundreds of heroes joining forces, it was more than just a weapon, more than just a plot device. It symbolized the end of an era. And with that, we've gone through some of the weirdest weapons to ever show up on screen. Whether it's flaming cards or a pack resting on your fanny, whether it's umbrellas that block bullets, or wands that rewind time? Why didn't they do that way more? Any weapon gets weird with enough imagination, and by looking behind the scenes at how these weapons were created and shot, how can we ever go back to normal guns and knives? Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble. Hey, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.